Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Jeffrey Dobin with Duality Technologies, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Wes Anderson, Vice President, Executive Product Owner, DAS Corporate, and Head of Enterprise Data Management at TD Bank. Hello, Wes. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
It's obvious to me that data would need to be made accessible to people on the customer support team or analyst team or loyalty team to make sure that you're discussing the right topics with that individual and you're giving them what they need to be successful. And maybe just coming full circle, I imagine that there are certain things that in one's tool belt in terms of data that's always accessible on that individual, but then there are other things which probably remain hidden or anonymized or obfuscated. If there was this magic wand or world where all that data was available at an analyst or a customer success person's fingertips, how would that improve that overall customer success or customer experience journey?
If you think about the way that technology is advancing, having access to good data is going to be fundamental for companies like large banks. So you look at the ChatGPT as an example of being able to analyze data and interact with your customers, right? You can do that as long as you have access to the right data, you know what the data is, and it's of good quality. Sound data management practices. There's a saying in the data management space, good decisions made on bad data are just bad decisions you don't know about yet, right? So you have to get the foundation right. Otherwise, all these advances in technology are not going to be beneficial to your company. You're just going to make bad interactions with your customers or bad decisions with some of the analytics that you're doing. And so, we certainly want to make sure that we get that foundation right to provide that good quality data into these new technologies to service our customers, whether it's providing that information at a moment's notice when a customer is in distress and calling up the call center, whether it's an online chatbot that is interacting with our customer. You want to make sure that the data that's coming in is appropriate to be analyzed or used as part of that interaction with the customer. How bad of an experience would it be if you call up and we start interacting with you and we're doing it based off of somebody else's data, right? That's a bad experience, a really bad experience. We want to make sure that we don't do those types of things. And the way that you do that is you have to have the foundational data management in place to know when you call up, we know who you are, we have your account information available, and it's the right account that we need to be able to make better decisions about how we service you.
Wes, very well done, because I think you just did a fantastic job of pulling this all together and coming full circle back to your main responsibilities within your role of ensuring the data is organized, it's cataloged, it's accessible, it's protected, right? And maintaining all these things while ensuring that the data is accessible or available to ultimately the purpose is to serve the customer. So really cool that you broke that down. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. It's an exciting space to be in. As I mentioned before, there's lots of data and analytics and AI and machine learning that people want to do things with, but we got to make sure we get the foundations right to make those successful.
Yeah. So before we leave, I'm curious, you mentioned these different tools and technologies and ChatGPT, which is really exciting. Are there any ideas you have in terms of things that either exist or don't exist yet that you think, hey, if someone would build something like this, or maybe you'd love your team to build versus buy, what would you create internally to solve some challenges? I guess, what are those challenges that are most important today that still exist, and how would you invent a solution for them?
Yeah, if I tie it into Wes's perfect data management world, it's taking a ChatGPT type of technology, pointing it at a data that we have within the company, and being able to do some of those foundational things for us, right? Can I point it to a data set and have it describe the data that allow us to not have a human do that? If we've got 2,000 data assets at a company, I need multiple human beings to go in there and describe that data. I can do some automation today to be able to do that with some of the technology vendors that are out there in the cataloging space. We can point it there, pull in some technical metadata, but somebody still has to go and add business context to that. This field that says account number, well, what accounts are we talking about? What products are we referring to? So you've got to do that in a manual way today with things like ChatGPT. Could I point that at a data set and be able to describe that in business terms in an automated way so that my business users focus more on using the data and less about the data management component of that? Same thing with data quality. Can I point it to a data set and have it tell me, hey, without a whole lot of manual required rule definitions, can it determine what the outliers are and provide recommendations on, hey, we think you have a data quality problem here for this time period in this column, and it may be impacting these things in your downstream consumption of that data set. That's the nirvana that I would love to see with some of these newer technologies. And frankly, I know some of the vendors out there in the data management space are looking at this and trying to get ahead of the needs now that these types of capabilities are coming to bear.
Yeah, I think your ideal world is upon us. And something that you mentioned, which I think is worth highlighting, you're not suggesting that AI replace humans. You're saying, hey, how can we leverage technology to take some of these manual, tedious tasks out of the way and then still give the analysts, the humans within any bank or any company, the tools they need to do their job more effectively and more efficiently, which will ultimately improve the customer experience. And I think that's a key thing to highlight, because you're not just replacing people here. You're just giving them the information they need to do their job faster, better, to ultimately improve the customer experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you own a particular data asset, you do 1,000 things on a weekly basis, right? Can I take some of the workload off of that human being by automating those tasks so they can focus on some of the other value add activities that they're already doing? Same thing with the data consumers. Can I automate that foundational data management activity that they may be performing in order to be able to simplify their jobs and allow them to do some of the more value add type activities? There's lots of opportunities in our space for that.
Absolutely. Well, Wes, thank you very much for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jeff.